Which 4 parks should your family go to for spring break this year based on seasons and availability? We visited Black Canyon of the Gunnison in April. There was still snow in places. The weather was nice enough that we wore a t-shirt and pants and just a light jacket on and off. The South Rim Road was open, so we were able to drive and see all the overlooks. A lot of the vegetation had dropped its leaves, so I imagine that in summer it's a lot prettier. Black Canyon of the Gunnison closes most of its roads in the winter. They also shut off the water for winter. Last year, they also had a wildfire, so that is affecting areas of the park. When we went in April, the East Portal Road was not open, so we were not allowed to go down into the canyon to see the canyon from the ground view. And if you look at the map, basically the only part of the park that you can drive in winter is from that circle, the entrance station, to the X, the South Rim Visitors Center. The weather in Colorado changed constantly and quickly. It was definitely winter when we arrived in Rocky Mountain National Park West Side. The road was only open a little bit past the Visitors Center, so we drove the road until we got to the roadblock and then turned around. We stopped at a couple places to take pictures and explore the snow. We also did a hike to a waterfall nearby. The next day we went into the east side of the park. The east side had a lot of animals. We saw a lot of elk, we saw a lot of deer, and we saw a mama moose with her baby. We also got to see a lot of snow, and driving out of the park, it got snowier and snowier. The main road that's closed at Rocky Mountain National Park in the winter is Trail Ridge Road. That road is the road that connects the two sides, west side and east side. In order to see both sides of the park, we had to drive up the west side, back down a bunch of highways to the freeway, and then through Denver, back up the east side on the highways and into the park. On the map, I have placed 2 X's where Trail Ridge Road closes, and if you back it out, you will see that Trail Ridge Road is kind of the main road in the park. And just to demonstrate, Boulder the next day, lovely weather until a thunderstorm rolled in and ran us back down the mountain. We also visited Great Sand Dune on the same trip in April. The weather was rainy and extremely windy. When we attempted to go climb the dune, the wind and rain got so bad that the sand was whipping in our eyes and we couldn't see. So we had to turn back. Pro tip for Great Sand Dune: if you plan to sled, you need to do your rentals outside of the park because there are no rentals within the park. We visited Mesa Verde National Park in September of 21. The weather was mild and beautiful, and there were autumn colors on the lower bushes. A lot of the trees had already lost their leaves. In the winter, you may need snow tires, all-wheel drive, or chains. Make sure to check before you go. And just like a lot of the other parks in Colorado, there are a lot of closed roads. The Cliff Palace Loop is closed during winter, which is one of the most iconic spots in the park, as well as the Weather Hill Mesa Road is also closed. So again, if you look at the map where the X's are, that whole road is closed. We visited White Sands National Park in April of 21, and it was a beautiful time to go. The weather was very nice. Something I learned on that trip is the gypsum does not burn your feet the way normal sand does. In April, the temperatures on the dunes were warm, but not burning. White Sands National Park does offer sled rentals in their gift shop. As of right now, the White Sands National Park has a large area of the park closed due to a plane crash that happened in 24. In those areas that are closed off, you can drive through the road, but you cannot do any stopping. We have visited Carlsbad Caverns in both September and December. Both times a year were very comfortable times to go to Carlsbad Caverns, as the cave stays the same temperature year-round. The major difference was within the 10 years that we had gone, they had redone the lighting. This time around, it was even more spectacular. You do have to have an entry permit. They only cost $1 per person online on recreation.gov, but you do want to get that in advance because they do sell out. A few days after we visited, it actually completely snowed all over Carlsbad Caverns, so if you are driving, be careful on the roads. I have been to Guadalupe Mountains National Park in both May and December. In May, it was very green and there were wildflowers. I did the Devil's Hall hike. I also visited the Frijole Ranch. It's a great historic area and it has a nice walk. I also saw this little guy. at Frijole Ranch as I walked the trails. When we went in December of this last year, we woke up to a gorgeous sunrise on Christmas Eve day, and we actually camped in the parking spot behind my shoulder. We were required to get an RV camping site because we were sleeping in our car, not a tent. This time in December, we did the Guadalupe Mountain hike. It is the highest peak in Texas, and we got to see some incredible views, and we got to accomplish something really neat. Once again, the temperature was beautiful while we were there. Another pro tip, if you are driving from Guadalupe Mountains National Park to Big Bend National Park and you are taking Highway 90, you will pass Prada Marfa on the way. I have been to Big Bend National Park in both May and December. And in May, the wildflowers were absolutely incredible. The weather was extremely warm, and when I hiked Santa Elena Canyon, I was definitely glad for the water crossing because it was about 100 degrees. In December, we were lucky enough to snag a campsite for Christmas night, so we were able to stay in the park. Even in December, we got semi-exhausted walking around the park because it was in the 80s. But overall, the weather was extremely beautiful and really great temperatures, way better than the 100 degrees I experienced in May. And this time around, we did not do the river crossing because everyone was going around the river again at Santa Elena Canyon. So last pro tip, you can cross the border into Mexico at Big Bend National Park at the Boquillas Crossing. Just bring your passports. Also, even if you don't cross the border, make sure to eat Mexican food because you are right at the border. Yum!